Coming to derivatives. So what is a derivative? It is a contract or a product whose value is determined from the value of some other assets, which is known as the underlying. So as we say that curd is underlying for multiple things. So it is underlying for your chas, it's underlying for your ghee, it's underlying for your paneer, and so on and so forth. Okay, so that is the way derivatives are. It could have underlying as something else. So what are the different underlyings which can happen? The first underlying set could be metals. So it could be gold, silver, aluminum, copper, zinc, nickel, tin, lead, etc., etc. Next could be energy resources like oil, crude oil products, cracks, coal, electricity, natural gas, etc. Then you have agri-commodities like wheat, sugar, coffee, cotton, pulses. And finally, you have financial assets like shares, bonds, foreign exchanges, etc. So these could be various underlyings in a derivatives product. Four broad things which we look at in terms of product categories in derivatives is forwards, futures, options, and swaps. We'll look at it individually going forward. What is a forward contract? So let's say you are interested in buying gold. There could be multiple options here. Case one, you decide to purchase, you look at the spot purchase. Okay, that is, I want to go and buy gold today. What is the option available? You want to buy gold on the spot on March 9, 2018. You paid a price of 30,425 for 10 grams of gold to the goldsmith, and you collected the gold. So simple hai, you just went to the shop, paid 3,425, which is the current price of 10 grams of gold, and you collected the gold. So here 30425 is your spot price. Let's look at scenario number 2, delayed purchase. Now you don't want to buy today. You want to buy gold 6 months later, but the price volatility bothers you. You don't know whether it will be 3,425 or high or low. So you're concerned about that. Okay, what do? You and the goldsmith agree on a price of 3075 in the future. That is, after 6 months, he says, okay, I feel that the gold prices will go up. You say, no, it will not go up. You come to a conclusion that, okay, fine, 30750 is a good price 6 months hence. You agree on this price and leave the goldsmith shop. You come back after 6 months and you buy at this price because there's already an agreement between the two of you. This 30750 is the forward price. Now, in case I did not enter into this contract with the goldsmith, what would have happened? If the price would have gone up or gone down, there could have been a risk, and that risk I would have had to face. But here in reality, what can happen is the price can become 3,500 or 4,000 also. Now, in that case, do you and the goldsmith honor this contract? So that is a risk which is there in the forward contract. But forward contract can be customized to the T. So that is absolutely not a problem. Okay. So let's look at what are the aspects here. The basic idea behind entering into a forward contract is to fix the price and thus to avoid a price risk. So key points, it is an agreement made directly between two parties to buy and sell an asset on a specific date in the future at terms agreed today. So it's an agreement between you and the goldsmith and on certain things that, okay, this is the price, this is the date which I will come back and buy it. Both parties are obliged to go through the contract irrespective of the value of the underlying. As I said, it could be 3500 also, it could be 4,000 also, but you are obliged to buy it. This is a bilateral contract. There's no third party involved in it. Any alterations in the terms of the contract is possible if both parties agree to it. So if you and goldsmith decide and agree to certain things like 15 days of delay or something like that, that is possible. If both are okay, there's nothing stopping you from changing the terms of the contract. Forward contracts are critical for fixing prices and avoiding prices. So typically we see that in case of commodities, foreign exchanges, equity and interest rate markets, forward contracts are also used. Even in agriculture, typically between the farmer and the wholesaler, or farmer and somebody who's going to use that farm produce as a raw material, here also forward contracts are used. So typically, as I said, a farmer is creating or producing wheat or rice, then he is using that to sell in the secondary market. He can have a tie-up between himself and the trader or the wholesaler, and this forward contract can be executed. Similarly, there's a sugarcane manufacturer and there's a person who's owning a sugarcane factory. So the sugarcane will go as an input or as a produce to the sugarcane factory. So both of them can do a tie-up, and definitely a forward contract can be executed. What are the limitations? Limitations are there. So basically there's a liquidity risk. So since the forward contract is not listed or traded on any exchanges, it makes it difficult for any other market participant to easily access these contracts. So between you and me, one of us defaulted. There are 10 other people who can come in, but actually they will not come in because they will not even know what has happened. So that is a liquidity risk which is there. Second is a counterparty risk. So if one party decides not to oblige by the rules of the contract or terms of the contract, the other party cannot go anywhere else because there is no exchange, there is no regulator here. It is not listed. So if the counterparty fails to fulfill its contractual commitments due to lack of transparency and settlement, that could be a very big risk. So because of this risk in the forward contracts, the next derivative emerged, which is known as futures. So that is where we have futures. So it is like you're looking into the future, predicting things, and so on and so forth. So it's an agreement made through organized exchange to buy, sell, and underline on a future date at an agreed price and quantity. This happens through clearing houses. Exchange acts as a counterparty to both the buyers and the sellers. Purchase the future and enters into the long position, sells the futures and takes a short position. So that is available. So let's understand a scenario here. So currently, let's say I'm just labeling, there's nothing like AL Industries. I've just taken a name. So let's say there is AL Industries. Its share is currently traded at 1,500 rupees per share. Understand this carefully. So Ram is expecting that the prices will go up in the near future. Shyam believes that the prices will go down in the near future. So always remember, exchange happens when there are counter beliefs. One is believing in a particular direction, and the other is exactly the opposite. So here Shyam is expecting that the prices would go up. Shyam is expecting that it will go down. 1 month future of AL Industries is available at 1,550. That means after 1 month, there's an expiry of this future, and that is available at 1,550. Now, Ram decides to buy 100 futures of AL Industries at 1,550 per unit, and Shyam sells the same. Perfect? Till here? So they are not operating in the spot market, they're operating in the futures market. Now, both are required to deposit a percentage of the transaction value with the respective stockbrokers to enter into the contract. This is known as the margin. So you can't just enter like that because you're not paying anything, you're just paying a margin amount, and that is where it has to be deposited upfront. Fair? Assuming that the AL industry share prices reaches 1,650 per share after 1 month. Now what will happen? What will Ram do? Ram will buy the futures price at 1,550 because he's already entered into a contract. He can buy it, and parallelly he can sell it in the spot market for 1,650. So what is his gain? His gain is 100 rupees multiplied by 100 units, which is 10,000 rupees. For Shyam, same situation will happen. Because if he has he already owns AIL industry shares, he has it in his kitty, then he can use that. Otherwise, he will have to go into the spot market, buy the shares at the prevailing price of 1650 and sell it to Ram at 1550 because it's already committed in a futures contract, and have a loss of 10,000 rupees. Two important things again. One important thing rather, if Ram's investment was only the future premium, which is small. So in the spot market, he would have had to invest 1.5 lakhs for the same day. So understand, if he had not entered into this agreement of futures, he would have to buy at the rate of 1,500 100 shares, right? So that is 15 lakhs is the amount, 1,50,000 is the amount, sorry. So he would have to put that amount, okay, 1.5 lakhs, and he would still get the same thing, which is 10,000 rupees profit. Now he's paying just a small margin amount, and on that margin amount, he's getting 10,000 rupees. So that is where the gains are much, much higher here. But what will happen is, if it would have gone against his expectation, then the loss also would have been to that same level. So that is why we say that the profits and losses in the futures segment is much, much higher, and the risk is equally high. Coming to the next part, this was all about speculation. Okay, one expected the prices to go up, the other expected the prices to go down, and that is what happened. Futures option can also be used as a hedging tool. Let's say you are somebody who's getting money in dollars after your trades are executed. Now you know your business, you know how profitability can be created in business. You have created a small margin which is required to make the business profitable. But the currency price movements can alter all that. So maybe you make a 15% profit in your business, but on the currency side, you have a 10% loss, and your profit moves from 15 to just 5%. That could be a risk. So in those cases, wherever you're exposed to certain risk, which is there, either in the form of share price risk, or in the form of interest rate risk, or in the form of currency price risk, so on and so forth, you use futures as a hedging tool. Coming to the next thing, which is options. So options is a contract which gives the buyers the right, but not the obligation to buy and sell an underlying asset on a date before the stated date, or on the date of the stated, on the date which is stated, and at the stated price as well. Okay, so everything is pre-decided. Buyer takes a long position. The seller or the writer takes a short position. The buyer of the option has the right, but not the obligation with regards to buying or selling of the underlying asset. The seller or the writer of the option has the obligation to honor the commitments. But very simply put, the buyer has been given an option. If the buyer decides to execute the option, he has full right to do that. The writer cannot say no. If the buyer decides to forego his option, then again, the writer cannot force him to go for the option. Okay, so it is within the rights of the buyer. The writer does not have any rights here, has to honor the obligations of the contract. Option which gives a buyer to right to buy the underlying option is known as the call option. If the buyer has a right, it is known as a call option. To buy, it is known as call option. If the buyer has a right to sell, it is known as put option. So that is where there are two options. One is the call, the other is the put option. So option buyer and holder will exercise their option only when the situation is favorable to them. So they are here to make business, right? Make money. But so they will exercise only when it is favorable to them, and they will decide not to exercise it when they don't want to exercise it. But when they decide to exercise the option, the writer, as I said earlier, is bound to honor the commitment. He does not have an option. Terminologies, multiple things. So you have buyer of the option here is Arvind, if we call him. The seller of the option or the writer of the option is Salim here. The Nifty index is there. Arvind pays Salim 100 rupees upfront payment, which is said to be the option premium or the price of the option. The Nifty value of 10,000 rupees is a strike price, also known as the exercise price. So the Nifty is at 10,200. After 3 months, Arvind's option will be in the money. That is, he's taken a buy option, that is a right to buy 10,000 at 10,000 rupees. The price now is 10,200. But then it is clearly making sense for him to exercise that option. That is why it is said to be in the money. So he immediately exercises the option and he can buy the Nifty at 10,000 rupees, though the current price is 10,200. Salim enters the obligation to sell Nifty at 10,000 rupees to Arvind. Salim earns 100 rupees as a premium and has lost 200 rupees because of the difference in the options price and the market price. So he has to sell Nifty at 10,000 rupees to meet his obligation. But his net loss is 100 rupees because he's lost 200 rupees from the transaction, but earned 100 rupees by writing the option. If Nifty index is at 9,800, after 3 months, then Arvind's option will be out of money option, as there is no point in buying at 10,000 when it is available at 9,800. That's 9,800, not 98,000 there. So 9,800. Salim will pocket his 100 rupees. So the writer of the option earning is by getting the option premium amount for whatever option he or she writes. Whether the buyer of the call option decides to exercise the option or not, it's completely up to him or her. Coming to swaps, what are swaps? So a contract in which two parties agreed to a specified exchange of cash flows on a future date. In this contract, one party pays a fixed rate to the other party and receives a floating rate in return. Only interest rate on this amount is exchanged on each settlement date every quarter between the parties, not the original amount. The principal amount is also known as the notional amount. Why notional? Because that never gets exchanged. By using the swap market, the borrower has converted his floating rate borrowing into fixed rate obligation. Swaps are very common in currency and interest rates. Swap transactions are governed by the rules and regulations accepted by SDA, which is known as the Swap Dealer Association, known as FIMDA. FIMDA is a voluntary market body for bonds, money market, and derivatives market. Okay. Now, what are the derivative products which are available? You have equity index options. You have equity index futures. You have individual stock options. You have individual stock futures. You have currency options and futures on select currency pairs. Pair is typically a dollar, INR dollar, euro dollar, INR euro, and so on and so forth. Interest rate futures. Commodity futures for a select set of commodities. So this is it. Forward markets for agricultural commodities and swap markets for interest rate are also available on the OTC market. So swaps is basically you're getting a fixed rate and you want a floating rate. You're getting a floating rate and you want a fixed rate. You don't want to have those interest rate risks which are available. That is why you enter into swaps and exchange the cash flow which you receive to the cash flow which is desired for you. Very, very simple. What is the purpose of derivatives? It is used as a risk management tool, obviously. It is commonly used in transactions where risk is due to unknown future value. So this we have already said that I may be hedging my risk as a farmer in case of agricultural produce, as a trader in terms of stock broking, exporter, importer in terms of currency, and interest rate cases as well in terms of cash flows. So it's basically the trade-off between risk and return. Three broad purposes of derivatives: hedging, which I already told to you. Then it is speculation, which we discussed when we discussed the futures example with the spot prices and the futures prices. It can be used also as an arbitrage purpose. So if there is any discrepancy or any price differential which exists between the spot prices and spot market and the derivatives market or the FNOs market, there are arbitrageurs available who take opportunity of this and convert that opportunity into riskless profits. So hedging, speculation, and arbitrage could be three broad purposes of derivatives. There are other derivatives which are there. So other important things. So commodity derivatives are there. If the underlying asset is a commodity like wheat, oil, etc., it is termed as a commodity derivative. If it is exchange rate, it is also known as a currency derivative. So the underlying for commodity options contract is a commodity futures contract for a specified month traded on the corresponding exchange. This is currency derivative, another derivative that serves as the underlying for a derivative. Such instruments are also known as exotic option in this case. Commodity derivatives. So you have the MCX or the Multi Commodity Exchange of India Limited. You have the NCDX, which is the National Commodity Derivatives Exchange Limited. You have the ICEX, which is the Indian Commodity Exchange Limited. You have the NSE and the BSE. Commodities are divided into four broad groups. We had looked at it earlier also. So first is the metals of the first is the bullion before the metal. So gold, silver, and diamonds are considered in the bullion section. Then you have the metals, which is aluminum, brass, copper, nickel, lead, steel, and zinc. You have energy, which is crude oil and natural gases. And then you have the entire agricultural produce. The most significant part of currency market is a concept of currency pairs. While initiating a trade, you buy one currency and sell another currency. Exchange rate is underlying here. Currency risk could be managed through any currency derivatives, that is forwards, futures, options, and swaps. FX, that is for foreign exchange current futures, are another name for currency futures. FX futures they are known as. Currency derivatives are available on four currency pairs. So it is USD, Euro, British Pound, and Japanese Yen. Cross currency futures and options contract on Euro USD, Great Britain Pound USD, USD Japan are also available for trading in the currency derivatives segment. The title, there's a mistake here. It is not commodity derivatives, it is currency derivatives.
Mutual fund investments are subject to market risks. Read all scheme-related documents carefully.